All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Bonjour, Quay. Today I am joined by Minister Mark McLean, the Minister of Finance. We're here today to provide an update on additional financial supports for Islanders as we cast our gaze onto the looming winter. Although it's been a lovely and more mild fall than we're traditionally used to, we know that the winter is coming. And with that, there is a growing uncertainty facing many of the citizens within our province. Overall, we find ourselves in a positive economic position. Our economy has outperformed all expectations over the last 18 months or so. And of course, Prince Edward Island isn't in this alone. We are seeing this from our neighboring jurisdictions, and many other provinces in the country have outperformed their budget projections, and we're no different here in PEI. Our province and our economy has shown and proven to be more resilient than anticipated or forecast. At the beginning of COVID and through its impacts, there was a great level of uncertainty and unknown. Our government and every other Canadian government essentially braced for a significant economic slowdown. In anticipation of this, we saw a record investment from the federal government into jurisdictions like Prince Edward Island. And at the same time, our own government made record investments to put money into the pockets of Islanders. Our desire was just that, to put money into the hands of those who need it to help cushion Islanders from the impacts of the unknown. The impact that it has had on the economy is that it really didn't slow down at all. It's grown. We've seen record levels of personal income tax revenue, corporate tax revenue, and sales tax revenue. I've always said and I've always believed that putting money into the pockets of Islanders is never a bad thing. They spend it locally and it circles throughout the economy, and we've certainly seen that. And at the same time as our economy is chugging along, we are facing the highest inflationary costs in over 50 years. And as we face this, we've tried hard to help Islanders and to cushion the blow and the challenges that they face. As an example, since tabling our last budget in the spring, we've been able to provide over $20 million through a cost of living support package that we announced in May. We've been able to make additional investments in healthcare through retention incentives, launching the Pharmacy Plus PEI program, and investing in our ground ambulance system. We've been able to broaden program criteria for programs such as our free heat pump program to end Islanders' reliance on fossil fuels, and of course our most recent support payments and sector supports during Hurricane Fiona. As a government, we have continually demonstrated that we're going to be here for Islanders for whatever it takes, as long as it takes, and that we're here to face these challenges together. So today, we're able to continue that help in a time where Islanders need it the most, especially when they're facing so much uncertainty, in particular with the volatility of fuel prices, heating costs, and so on. Today, we're announcing the largest financial relief package in our province's history. This support package totals $58 million in support and will reach over 117,000 Islanders. For any individual with a net income of less than $100,000, they will receive $500. For individuals with a net income between $100,000 and $125,000, that payment will be prorated. For any single parent or couples with a net income of less than $100,000, they will receive $1,000. For individuals making between $100,000 and $145,000, that payment will be prorated. Leading up to today, many of our programs focused on our most vulnerable, and rightly so. In the coming days, Minister MacKay will be announcing additional assistance for social assistance clients, as well as expanding program funding and criteria for home heating. He will also be announcing key strategic investments with regards to housing. Today's announcement will help Islanders across the board, including those in our middle income tax bracket who are also feeling the pressures of high inflation. These payments will be non-taxable and will be issued through CRA on January the 5th, 2023. Minister McLean will provide further details momentarily. As I said, this is the broadest reaching financial program any government has ever launched in Prince Edward Island. But we also know that there's never been a time where Islanders need support as much as they do now. We are grateful to be in a positive economic position to make these investments, and we will continue to work hard to remain in such a position so that we can continue to invest in strategic areas such as housing, healthcare, as well as providing additional support to help Islanders address the rising cost of living. In the coming days, you'll hear more about these investments, but for now, I will turn it over to Minister McLean with some more particulars.
Thank you, Premier. I'm pleased to be here today to announce some of the specifics on our record inflationary support for our province. As the Premier mentioned, our economy has outperformed almost everyone's expectation over the past 18 months. Earlier today, we announced an $83 million surplus for 2021-2022, largely thanks to unanticipated increase in personal and corporate income taxes and sales taxes. I want to emphasize that this is a good thing for our province and better than anyone could anticipate. In February of 2022, we introduced an operating budget with new investments totaling over $130 million for our province and record expenditures of over $2.2 billion. While these investments continue to be carried out, the reality of a surplus will allow for increased investment in almost all areas, including the announcement being made here today. To emphasize the Premier's points, this investment will reach over 117,000 Islanders. Similar to the program rolled out in the spring of 2022, single individuals and couples will qualify for this provincial payment. Individuals who make up to $100,000 a year will receive an additional $500 on top of their HST payment that they usually receive. Individuals who make between $100,000 and $125,000 will receive a prorated amount based on their income. Couples and single parents will also be supported through this initiative. Those with combined income of approximately $100,000 will receive $500 each for a total of up to $1,000. A single parent who meets the eligibility criteria will also be able to claim $500 for themselves and $500 for their first dependent child. Couples and single parents with income between $100,000 and $145,000 will receive a prorated amount based on their level of income. This record investment will help deliver funds directly to our Islanders who are 18 and over, as well as the working and middle class. We're proud to work with Canada Revenue Agency on delivering this support directly to Islanders. I want to remind Islanders that they do not have to apply for this funding. Additionally, these payments are not taxable. I also want to take a moment to clearly outline what is needed to ensure eligible applicants receive the inflationary support on or during the first week of January 2023. If you haven't already, you will have to file your annual income tax with CRA. Check how you receive payments from CRA, and if you are signed up for direct deposit, this is how you will receive this support. If you receive checks in the mail, you will notice this funding on your check. If you'd like to follow up with CRA on how you may receive these benefits, you can visit My CRA. All the information I just outlined is also on our Provincial Information Support webpage. Our webpage also clearly outlines specific scenarios and examples to help paint the picture of what Islanders in different income levels can expect. Our Provincial Department of Finance has a great relationship with CRA, and we are pleased to be working together to deliver this support directly to Islanders. We know the winter months are expensive for everyone on PEI, and especially this year. This inflation support payments will help over 117,000 hardworking Islanders keep their homes warm, recoup from the holidays, and relieve stresses of everyday costs. With that, I would be happy to pass it back to the Premier for any questions from the media.
So, thank you, Minister. I know we have some for friends in the journalist business online, but we have one in person here. So perhaps we'll start with Mr. Brian Higgins from CBC.
Right. Thank you, Premier King. So this is a $58 million rebate. You mentioned that tax revenues have exceeded that to the tune of $83 million budget surplus. Where is the other $15 million going?
Well, I think we announced that we've already spent about 20 in the initial cost of living expenditure that we made in May. We've announced another 18 that have gone out through the Red Cross for Fiona. So I think we've probably shot over the $83 million surplus number. We feel like we're in a good position in the current fiscal year to pick up that as well. We know we have to continue to make these investments, and we'll continue to make them.
Question for Mr. McLean, perhaps. This is contingent upon filing one's income tax. Right away, there's the worry for the people who are not in the system filing income tax as they should, be it people who are not able, dysfunctional, socially challenged. What about those people?
Well, I think it's important we chose CRA because they have the systems in place in order to do this. So again, would encourage those to file if they haven't. It is a requirement, obviously, to file your income taxes. So we've chosen this CRA because they have the access to banking information and the capacity to deliver these payments.
And also, just to pick up on that, Brian, it's a fair point, but we've made some considerable investments already to individuals that you referenced there and many others. Minister MacKay will be announcing some increases in social assistance, which will pick up a number of those as well. And in many regards, those who are on social assistance that do file will get both as well. So there will be, the whole idea here will be to try to get as much money as we can into the hands of Islanders as quickly as possible. That good for you? Okay. We can go online. I don't have a list of who's on there, but Vicky, do you want to take over?
Dave Stewart from The Guardian.
Yes, gentlemen, I guess let's go directly to either one of you. And if I think just building on Brian's point about the filing of income tax, so do I understand that the people won't receive this money until they file, so not until perhaps sometime in late winter, early spring?
Well, I think if you filed income tax in the current or the past year, you would be on the roll to qualify for this. As the minister said, there's a obligation Canadians and Islanders have to file their income tax on an annual basis. So, we'll work closely with CRA, similar to what we did in the spring with the initial payment, and to make sure as many get it as possible. But, the idea would be that most Islanders would, in the first week of January, get this record investment check, and will help them a little bit. Doesn't make everybody whole. Government can't do that. We're trying our best to cushion Islanders the best we can. And trying to help as broad a spectrum as we can across the board. This gets 117,000 and more Islanders, and that's a pretty significant package for us. But anybody, as we've done through every other program we've announced, if anyone does find they're falling through the cracks in some way, there's lots of avenues to call to help us and to make sure you get what we want you to have.
Speaking of financial assistance, we've seen for the last 5+ weeks Islanders lining up for Red Cross assistance money. That some of the money having come from the province. Do we have have all Islanders been served yet, or where are we on that? Do you have any thoughts, Mr. Premier?
I think that the last number that I think the minister and I saw was somewhere in excess of $17.5 million has gone out. So I think we had targeted 18. So I think we're close to that level. I'm not sure who remains in the system who was qualified that hasn't been paid yet. I haven't checked on that in the last number of days. But overall, I think we've gotten close to 70,000 Islanders got that emergency relief payment that we wanted to get, and they did so in a pretty significantly short period of time. All things considered, it wasn't without its frustrations and challenges for sure. Perfection's not the bar that we aspire to. We try to do the best we can, but pretty incredible how that turnaround has come. But I haven't checked in the last couple of days to see what's remaining there, Dave, but we'll do so.
Okay, thank you very much.
Shane Ross, CBC.
Hello. So am I to understand that people who make under $100,000 a year get $500? Is that correct?
Yes, it is. Again,
and people who make over that, it gets prorated?
yeah. Again, this is added to the sales tax credit that you would receive normally, or not normally, depending on your income levels from the federal government. So we're adding on to that system. So 100,000 is the threshold that we've determined. In order to help the middle class, the working class, it's important that we reach to that level with inflation and the rising cost of living and as we approach winter.
But does this mean that people making over 100,000 will get more than $500?
No, it'll be prorated to be less than that, Shane.
That's what I was wondering. Yeah. So is it? Can we assume that you won't be raising taxes to pay for any of this relief money?
Yeah, as I say, we tried to articulate at the beginning is that the economy for the last 18 months has really outperformed what we had thought. This isn't something that we have gotten to a level by underspending in departments across the board, as the minister tried to articulate in his comments, that the record level of spend we put in the budget has actually been exceeded in many regards because we had the capability to do so. At this time, I don't think it's fair and reasonable to expect Islanders to pay more taxes. I think we've found that we have a fair level of taxation there. Governments would like to reduce that tax, but at the time we're facing a cost of living that's higher here than anywhere else in the country, and we're really trying to do everything we can to cushion Islanders to the best extent that we can. This helps working families, it helps the middle class, and it's not going to fill people's oil barrel. I know all of those things, but it'll be a little bit of help, a little bit of cushion, and we're in an enviable position to be able to share that with Islanders, and that's what we're doing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Joey Black here.
Hi, Joe. Are you there, Joey? We lost.
You might need to unmute yourself.
Let's try this again. Can you hear me?
I got you loud and clear. Joey, how are you doing, my friend?
Good. So you were saying that anyone on a short income and or what used to be called social assistance is going to receive the 500 now. How is that going to be dispersed? Now, is that straight through, or?
So I think anyone in that situation that has filed their taxes with Revenue Canada or CRA now would get it through the payment that will come in January. I also said that Minister McKay will be announcing some additional investments in social assistance and some other areas in the days ahead. And so anyone living, who's certainly on social assistance now will get an increase in their rates and also qualify for the 500.
Now, is that qualify for the 500? So, no. That's all contingent on. Is there any contingency on that, or no? I had just barely come online there just before you.
I'll take that, Joey. So basically, with this program is there's no applicant process. So if you were receiving your sales tax credit or previously, this will certainly be added on, and if you qualify, you'll receive it. So there is no application process. It's quite simple, and we've tried to make it as easy as possible. So that's why the January timeline is there, because it lines up with the disbursement of those checks by the federal government. Obviously, we'd like to have it sooner than later, but it allows the people of Prince Edward Island to plan and to recoup from the holidays, and hopefully they can make an adjustments and know that this money is coming.
Okay, so that's not only people on social assistance, but that's anyone that's eligible. Is that correct, Minister?
Yes, there's some thresholds that we alluded to earlier in the call, Joey. It's up to 100,000. We also will have a web page, and we'll also have some scenarios on that web page, which will outline some specific scenarios for Islanders.
Okay, that'd be great. Thank you, Minister.
Thanks, Joey. Brian, do you have another question there? Yeah, sure.
You know, a check in the mail is always popular at Christmas time. It's a nice little stocking stuffer. But this is coming down to a taxation issue. It's a tax-based, offering. And I know that for years they've been, the Canadian Federation of Independent Business, for example, has talked about the need to tie income tax thresholds to inflation, like the basic personal exemption level and the level at which you move into a higher taxation level and pay more tax. They've been saying for years we need to raise those as inflation goes up. Apparently PEI has not. And with inflation really taking off, isn't it time to start moving those things up big time?
Well, I would say that continues to be an ongoing discussion that we have with our Department of Finance officials and others. I think that in some areas we've been able to move the thresholds, but we're trying to make sure Islanders are doing the best they can in this time of uncertainty and facing what we face from the cost of living. I think we'll take all of that under advisement. But from where we're at economically right now, in the enviable position we find ourselves in, we really feel it's the most responsible thing for the government to try to do the best they can to share this with as many Islanders as possible and hopefully make life just a little bit easier for a short period of time for Islanders. Okay. Well, thank you very much. Thank you, Minister, and sure we can do a little bit more of this in the days ahead, but thank you very much.